Hello everybody and welcome back to another video by Funland Tutorials. Continuing with Adam Smith's theory of absolute advantage, I'll try to put an alternative explanation for this, but this time the results might change. So instead of going with labor this time, I'm going to be going with goods. What are the changes that are here and what are the things that remain the same? This changes, but the numbers remain the same. So you can interpret it in a different way. Of course, the results will be different. So when you're given a question, of course, they will mention whether it's in labor or hours, which have the same interpretation, or if it's in goods. You will be able to read the question and understand which of the interpretations are being used, and that way you can frame your answer, because otherwise the results will change. So let's see if I can change the color. I hope I can. Of course I can. Good. So let me change it to pink because I wrote goods in pink, so that will be better. Now initially it was one person takes 10 hours. So the person or the labor is under question. Here let's say one person of country A can make 10 units Y. 10 units X, sorry. This becomes one person of country A can make 20 units Y. This actually becomes easier. One person of country B can make 20 units X, and one person of country B can make 10 units Y. So where does my life get easier? The thing is, it was difficult to understand it at first sight, but here you can understand that the same person can make 20 units of Y and instead can make 10 units of Y. In the first glance itself, you can say that the country is better off at producing Y. This is the difference in the conclusion. Here, the country was more efficient in producing X, but if you go by this interpretation, then of course the interpretation changes because the numbers mean different. So here, the country is better off producing Y, and people in country B are better off in producing X, because when you are suppose here country B produces 2 units of X and country A produces 2 units of Y. When B gives up 1 unit of X, because it produces X, when B gives up 1 unit of X, it gives up just 1 person worth, but that the value is different here, right? So here the meaning of absolute advantage remains the same, because here country A has an absolute advantage in Y. Country A has an absolute advantage in Y and country B has an absolute advantage in X. Where is the difference coming from? Because the unit is in goods. So here one person makes 10 units of X, but here it was 10 hours 1 unit of X, or 10 people 1 unit of X. Everything was in 1 unit of the commodity. So the comparison is keeping the commodities same. What are the inputs that are changing? So here the concentration was on the inputs. For the same amount of output, what inputs are required? But here for the same input, one person. Again, you can take 1 hour. One person in 1 hour can make 10 units, or one person in 1 hour can make 20 units. So then the unit becomes 1 hour. But the question remains the same. Here the same output, input changes. Here same input, one person, same input, output changes. So if you're looking at output, the interpretation is the reverse as that of the output, because the numbers essentially mean this different things. This is 10 hours or 10 people, but this is 10 units of X. So the reason is that the result changes. Here A makes all of X, B makes all of Y, they exchange, they are better off. Here A makes all of Y, B makes all of X, they exchange and they are better off. So here A has an absolute advantage in Y, B has an absolute advantage in X. Here A has an absolute advantage in X, B has an absolute advantage in Y. But they both mean absolute advantage theory holds. They are both consistent with the absolute advantage theory. They give different answers because the units are different. This is in units of input, this is in units of output, so the results are different, but they mean that the country which is better off, the country which has an absolute advantage in producing one good, is better off producing only that good and selling part of it to the other, and then that way both the countries will be better off. So the meaning remains the same. They both represent absolute advantage and they both produce the same essential meaning. The results are different, but the meaning remains the same. So that is how you can understand the concept of absolute advantage.